Our viewers, welcome. Well, I'll start with a very interesting note, and I believe he is your role model somehow. Martin Luther King Jr. He once said, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter."
Exactly.
Now, from me to you, of course, I always say, when spiders unite, they can tie down a lion.
It can trap a lion.
You know that.
True.
So, welcome. A very pleasant good afternoon to you, our viewers, of course, and thanks for always keeping ATTV. You can find us on our social media handles, of course. We have YouTube. We are live, I believe, right now. Facebook. We've got Twitter. We've got Instagram. Just go there and find us on live, and you can hear. Always subscribe. Now, of course, today we've started this. Of course, a translation would be, let's talk about it. My name's, of course, as your host, Orlando Peace Martin. I'm saying thank you for, of course, tuning in. And our apologies, like I said, but today, because of the ins and outs and ups and downs, we can't always fail to bring to the people what they have to hear.
Of course, give people what they want.
So, today with me, of course, right here in the studio, I've got a very, very, very interesting man. We all know in our midst, the former national, you're still the National Unity Platform member?
I'm the commissioner.
Commissioner.
Masindi.
Well, in our midst, we have the former National Unity Platform Member of Parliament candidate, Masindi Municipality, the warrior, Fagia Garcia.
Fagia.
No nonsense man. Country Rogers. I welcome you to the big talk.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure finding you and finding the citizens of this country, the friends of justice, veterans of nonsense, brothers and sisters, even including our ancestors.
Now, probably, let's take off our shades, because they may want to know.
Apologies, please.
Apologies, yeah.
Apologies.
So, okay, you said.
Yes, I'm doing.
Okay, then we'll set the ball rolling directly because of the time factor, of course, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, you know me, I always go straight to the point.
Meet the point. I also just want
I'm going to ask you a very interesting open question, first of all.
Interesting open? Go ahead.
Interesting open question.
Exactly.
Do you think the existing NRM government is going on the right direction to benefit the citizens of Uganda? If yes, or if no, you may have an opinion. On what basis do you assess your opinion?
I'm entitled to my opinion. You're entitled to everybody's entitled to an opinion.
Entitled.
Ugandans are suffering from a daily useless Museveni syndrome. Suffering from a daily Museveni useless syndrome.
Okay.
It's no longer leadership. Mm-hmm. It is madness. If you say Museveni is a leader, then you're mad. He even knows he's mad.
Okay.
Back. Completely. We have just three things to fight as a country. I will always reflect on the past. Dr. Apollo Milton Obote had only three tasks to move this country. Okay. Eliminating ignorance, hunger, and disease. Just three things. The country will move.
Right.
We had how many ministers and how many districts? Today we have how many ministers? We have how many districts? But the country is messed up. You cannot tell me a government that used to store food for citizens. We used to have foods and beverages stores in every district. The government used to keep food for us. You can tell me disease is there right now. There is corona. That's what they allege. And they tell us vaccinations are, we shall begin with this department, the army, then we go for this. If it is a pandemic, that's a world debate. Citizens, a pandemic is a worldwide discussion. You can't tell me that you're going to segregate a certain other age group. Then we are going to have only soldiers and ministers and MPs having the shot. If it is a pandemic, vaccination is indiscriminate. Any person, even a mad person, is supposed to be vaccinated. That one sleeping on the street or eating in the garbage. So it lost track. We have issues everywhere. Soldiers don't fix things. Soldiers fight to remain there.
In other words, you stand to say that
it failed. It's a
direction at
it's
which
a failed government.
So it's a totally failed.
Totally failed.
What can they do to change this? What do they need to do?
It is total overhaul. Total overhaul. Soldiers get out of leadership. We have to replace the constitution.
Okay.
We don't have a constitution. Right now, Ugandans don't have a constitution. The only constitution we have is a juggling ball for NRM. That's all.
Wow.
Then we have to embargo some articles, or many articles in the constitution.
Okay.
We can only add if it is a health binding issue, agriculture binding issue, education binding issue, but not leadership. Not leadership.
So everything has to be shuffled from.
We have never had independence. The white man is still here.
Wow.
In the brand name, the white man is still here. In the brand name, the machine, the sentencing machine.
Right.
Once you see those machines, it means the white man is there.
Now there's this notion, of course, it's a cynical view that most people, if not all, I mean
most people,
but it may be all of them have got that kind of notion.
Not me.
Now they tend to say all politicians. I know you're not a politician.
No, I'm an activist.
You're an activist.
A human rights defender, but I stand inside politics. Actually, that's why I fail.
Now they say, well, like I said, it's a notion that people have got. They say all politicians are corrupt, and they are always in it for themselves. A quick one. I know you've been as a politician, you've been there, and you've heard people say, have this kind of notion and say it.
Yes.
What do you think you do as a political activist and a human rights defender to change? What would you do to change this cynical kind of view that people have got in their minds about?
There are three things. One is total overhaul of leadership.
Okay.
Two, we have got to have stringent draconian laws. You are cited in corruption, life sentence, no compromise.
Okay.
If we look for you, you are supposed to surrender yourself. You are caught in a corruption scandal for either power, electricity, medicine, any purchases, government purchases, procurement, or money intended for something.
Right.
You stole it. Corruption is a thief. If we look for you for 1 month and you can't surrender yourself, we just order, wherever you find him, shoot to kill. Shoot to kill. So no one will do that again. So this is what we call total overhaul.
All right.
And then we have to put on the constitution, don't mess with Uganda. Don't mess with Uganda and Ugandans.
No, but then we see the leaders themselves into encouraging those that are not Ugandans to come and intervene.
You say the word leaders.
Yeah.
Are they leaders or misleaders?
That's your opinion to tell.
These are misleaders. They have misled this country to think opposite. Uganda is the pearl of Africa. It means the queens of Africa, the land, the infrastructure, the green and flora and fauna is just the best in the world is Uganda. But the pearl of Africa is bleeding, rotting, and people are just watching in the brand name corruption.
So is it true that the politicians are in need for themselves and they are corrupt? The politicians that we have today.
Let me just show you something.
Yes.
We don't even have politicians.
So what do we have?
We have lumpens.
Are they corrupt and they are
useless, corrupt?
They are in need for themselves?
Look, a car for 200 million shillings,
right.
Whereas we have a vaccine that is not yet purchased for coronavirus. Is that logical? Even a blind man, let me say a blind man can see corruption.
Okay.
A madman, completely rotten minds can cite corruption. So in short, what you call corruption is the tool that is driving issues of this country. And let me tell you, it doesn't mean only citizens are corrupt. Mr. Museveni is given a loan for a power plant.
Okay.
Let's say, for example, $15 million.
Right.
But the mafias around that deal take 2/3 of the money.
Okay.
Which is approximately $10 million. Then he's given $5 million. Remember the purchasing process there. They are also thieves. They need more profit. They will also take some. They end up doing shoddy work. Now, if we have to do something,
right.
Let me give you this. You said a solution to corruption. the funding agent gives money to Uganda. The government of Uganda, which is the NRM, receives. But the spending force should be the opposition. So that, yeah, you made a deal, but we are the ones supervising and passing the payments. It will never happen again. We get anybody messing around, we know how to deal with you people. And somewhere we have got to have sentencing people to crucify, like a guillotine machine.
Right.
We shall send 3 or 4 to that judgment. Even a white, well, we put a stringent measure. You're a white man, you've come to work here, you mess with our laws, you face the guillotine. We just have to cut 3 or 4 whites. They will never mess with us again.
Ladies and gentlemen, those who are connected, those who have just connected right now on our, of course, live feed. We have Rogers in our midst.
Country Rogers, the
Country
warrior
Rogers,
himself.
the warrior. He says, well, he has a claim to the name of Fagia Garcia. He has that as
sweeping garbage. Sweep the garbage.
Sweeps the rubbish and the garbage.
Yeah.
And he's here trying to enlighten us and give us about what is going on currently and presently in Uganda, in our nation, of course. We are going to be discussing drama going on in, I think it was Tororo,
okay,
where some politicians had donated ambulances, and because they had failed the elections, they had not gone through, they decided to withdraw and take them back. Is it true then? Does it mean that these politicians were in need for themselves?
It's a gamble.
So it's
like this. Politicians are not allowed to buy ambulances.
Okay. Enlighten us more.
You say you donated an ambulance. Where did you get the funding? From government coffers. They gave you money to buy a car. Then you use that money to buy an ambulance. So why do you give MPs money to buy cars? Whereas you can use this, the MPs use that money for ambulances. Now, when an MP buys an ambulance, for example, who is the owner of the logbook? Because you've donated it to the people, it's supposed to go to the district headquarters. The car receives it, then hands it over to the health department, then it is assigned a hospital, Masindi Hospital, or let's say the referral or whatsoever. Then maybe the administration takes over and it can see how to allocate these ambulances. Who is the fueling agent? Who is the driver? Who is going to service this? And who is going to repair, buy spares like tires and the rest of this? So we shouldn't just end on the ambulance. It becomes a burden somewhere where if you donate, you have got to look after that donation forever. And you are supposed to put it in the names of the donation. You donated it to who? Then hand over to where the donation belongs.
So is it why they had to withdraw these ambulances? Because they couldn't sustain and because
I said it's a gamble. People will see that you've donated, but when you lose a vote of the people, you get frustrated and disappointed. You just have to remove the words and the number plate. You put a taxi number plate, then you start driving. Bulisa, Kiriandogo, Kampala. That's it. It's your car. Only if they have to hand over logbooks, reading to where they donated. So it's very true. On
that note, I want to thank, of course, definitely. We saw Honorable Kasojo Kato.
Yes.
He donated an ambulance. We just saw it the other day. And then Honorable Joab, Businge Joab, as well donated some automobiles for, to aid. Because definitely we've seen this going on. The government, when it comes to corruption, has got something to do with it all. Because I believe the government might have done something to help out the health sectors, unless I'm wrong. But I believe the government might have done something, but then due to corruption and all those kind of ins and outs, they failed to reach their destination.
You are not wrong, but you stand to be corrected.
Go ahead, I would love that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It is not the work of an MP to buy an ambulance.
Okay.
That is government to buy ambulances. But for the purpose of having to win another vote, it is also another form of corruption. That's what they call psychological corruption.
Okay.
They are corrupting the voters to have a vote that is caring. He has bought us an ambulance.
Okay.
You understand? That's also another form of corruption, psychological. So any MP who has donated an ambulance, that's a very stupid approach to issues.
So you want
Why
to say,
didn't you buy AstraZeneca? We need treatment. We don't need transport. to where you're taking us, where there is no treatment.
No, but then
now, an ambulance is going to take you to hospital. For what reason?
To get treatment, of course. To get
Now, what treatment? What treatment is that we want? Astra?
No, but then there are these.
Okay, we need vaccination. Okay. We need to treat those people with coronavirus, and they tell us there is no treatment, but they are healing them. So can they tell us how they heal them? Maybe using a Bible, or they roast coffee.
So did they do that for respect?
It's also corruption. They corrupt people. I love doctors. When doctors are graduating to come to practice medicine, they swear what they call the Hippocratic Oath. That is as said by Cleopas, the father of medicine. So they'll do anything stupid to prove that they are working so much. Go to the doctor right now, even if he's your brother, and tell him you're feeling headache. Even when you don't have it, he'll diagnose and give you tablets, and you pay. Now you reach somewhere, you even have to throw them. You say, I wanted to understand, does this man work? They also have witch doctors.
So do you really confirm that these funds that were used to buy these ambulances that were donated, do you want to say these funds came from the government, or is it from their own pockets, these members of parliament?
Government or not government, we are overspending for petty things. I saw something on WhatsApp, somebody sent me. The money lender is cruising a bicycle, and the borrower is having a fleet of spending the money that was borrowed. It defeats logic on where that happens. The borrower is supposed to spend it carefully so that it matches the purpose.
Right.
But in this composition, you borrow money, you spend it in a nightclub. Is that right? So corruption has done a lot of mess.
Now, like you call it, like it's a psychological. There's a terminology you use. It's a psychological something.
Psychological corruption.
It's a psychological corruption.
Yes.
Now, did these people do these donations as a sign of respectability, or did they do it out of, well, to do it as charity?
It could have been a token of appreciation, which you might call charity.
Right.
But to me, they were lobbying the next seat in parliament, which is next to impossible. Mankind evolves. The ambulance is not the issue.
Right.
Which is like wedding a woman does not mean you possess her. Annoyed with you over a small quarter of alcohol and come to sleep in Country Roger's house. Any doubt?
Well then, okay, putting cynicism aside, let's try to put cynicism aside.
Okay.
Do you think there are any issues that the opposition and the current NRM government agree on? And if so, which ones could they be? Because of late, the current Prime Minister, Robin Anabanja, vows to crack whip on opposition MPs who are using parliamentary committees to amass wealth illegally. Does this mean it's only to do with the opposition members of parliament, or they are also part of that?
To me, even Robin Anabanja is illegal. Do you know how she speaks her English?
Why do you say that?
That person, wait, there's what they call ethics. Who is the Minister of Ethics in Uganda? Robin Anabanja is not supposed to be the Prime Minister. See the way she speaks. Just tell her to speak. I can just bring my boy of P4 to speak with Robin Anabanja. She'll just keep quiet. I waited for her to speak a vocabulary in her speech. Nothing. So she's not a prime minister as such. She is a prime minister.
Okay, putting that aside, but my question was direct.
Now I'm going there. How do you tell me right now? Let me just give you the easiest answer to answer everything in Uganda right now. What is the biggest asset we have that is demanded by the whole world right now? Of course, oil.
Okay.
Oil in Uganda is in Bunyoro. When you visit the Resettlement Act on land acquisition, minerals of the world, Uganda has its own careless law that does not care about citizens. Congo even has a better one. When they find gold in your place, you're given a certain percentage.
But there's gold in Uganda as well.
But I'm talking about laws.
Okay.
When they find anything in your land, you're given a percentage of the sale. But in Uganda, when there is a mineral in your place, it is for the country. But they say government.
Right.
Which government is rotten? How do you tell me you are selling a barrel of oil from Bunyoro at 15% of 100 per barrel. A raw material sold at 15% of 100% per barrel.
Right.
Implying that a kilo of sugar is sold at 10,000 shillings, but in the world, but to you, you are selling it at, it was how much? A kilo of sugar is 10,000,
right,
and you're selling it at 1,500.
To the citizen.
Then you are selling a loot.
A route to what?
Loot, they have looted it.
Okay.
It's, you don't even know the value of what you're selling. Not so.
All right.
Look at OPEC, oil petroleum exporting countries. Let's visit countries that are selling oil and understand the terms and conditions. Oil produces oil, petrol, diesel, benzene. We even can get, there are some small deposits of, this same oil that they use for lubrication, grease. We have got smearing oil. We have got clothes. We have got tires. We have some medicine, some deposits of oil that they mix with medicine. We have tires and tubes. We have cushion covers. We have the last bit of it, I think, is bitumen. So everything around oil is useful. Remember, it's a fossil gas.
Right.
You understand? Now, what do we have to do? We have to revisit the terms and conditions. Okay. You can't tell me something on demand, you are selling it at a careless price. Mr. Museveni has advisors. I think he's the one who advises them. But I was reading somewhere he has a contract with the Secret Society to run for life presidency. So he does work for the whites, not pro the blacks.
So, like the question was saying, of course, is there something that really the opposition and the current government are really agreeing upon, are doing together?
The problem is one, Mr. Museveni has guns behind him, and he has to point the same guns to the citizens to accept.
Who is putting these guns behind Museveni?
The Secret Society that gave him the contract to run this country. His own contract for the white man.
How do you defend that? How do you prove that Mr. Museveni...
Have you ever sat down to investigate just your family? Just investigate your family. Without anybody telling you actions, words, friends, documents. You just learn to understand that this deal is within those confines. Who owns the money of the world? Rothschild, Rockefeller, JP Morgan. Who owns the guns of the world? The same. Who are their masters? The Vatican. Who is inside the Vatican? The president of the world, the Pope. The Pope has a detach in every village of the world.
So that's why I wanted to really understand if there's any, or if there are any issues that the NRM government is coordinating hand in hand with the opposition. If at all there are certain things that they are doing.
There was only one deal that the opposition was planning to agree with Mr. Museveni.
Which one was that?
The government of UK was planning to give us £3 trillion for building infrastructure in Uganda.
Right.
But the condition was we have to make a memorandum of understanding between the opposition of Uganda in parliament and the government that in case NRM loses the vote, they should never break the infrastructure. In case FDC, that was the leading, loses and NRM loses, they shouldn't destroy the infrastructure.
Right.
Now, by then, the Speaker of Parliament was Winnie Kiza. And this deal was passed through one of those presidential candidates. It's bad to speak the names. But Winnie Kiza is a common politician here.
Right.
So, this fella went to Mr. Museveni, they agreed. So they were planning, they had a deal in a deal.
Right.
The deal,
right,
in that deal. So they were planning, Winnie Kiza tables it in parliament. Okay. But somebody who saw the deal rotten went and told Kiza Besigye, the deal is bad here. Kiza Besigye said, wait. He called his strongholds and gave them a secret that we are going into polls. One man is against me and he's next to me and he's the president. Please don't vote him.
Okay.
FDC went to polls. They ordered them to vote Amuriat. Then Amuriat comes to parliament, comes into presidency for FDC. He votes Awol as the speaker of parliament.
Right.
So the deal went rotten. Winnie Kiza was with another man for that deal, but basically blocked it. Scan the horizon. This is another day's topic.
All right.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, of course, the warrior himself, Garcia, no nonsense man like he always knows himself.
You find rubbish, sweep it.
Enlightening us, of course, about what is going on currently in our nation. And of course, we're going to drive into what is happening currently here in Masindi, in our Bunyoro, because he's very prominent, he's very well known, of course, politically, economically, socially, culturally as well. And with us, he's, of course, giving us some of the ideas that we may not be knowing. We are learning, I'm learning, we are all having some enlightenment here. Now, we'll go a little bit. Some more, you know, the situation with corruption is still...
It's the tool. Corruption is the tool.
A big thing. Now,
ask me a question. Can you ask a tough question? You're asking a small question.
The newly appointed Inspector General of Government, Betty Kamya.
Yes, please.
She vowed to intensify efforts to fight corruption across government ministries. Now, do you think there should be more strict laws and regulations to eradicate corruption in our country, or is it simply because those that they implemented did not come to work, they were not effective? This
government cannot commit itself to change the state of art of the livelihood of the citizens. It has the bogus point of it. Actually, it is in the junkyard trying to fix, borrowing old spares to fix. You understand? Even when have you ever had a very old car? Even when you put one brand new tire, it remains ramshackled. That is what they are trying to fix. You can even borrow money from a friend to put a brand new clutch plate. You drive along like you're going to Hoima, just 3 miles away. The tire jumps off, the old one, with the hub and everything. Now you have to revisit the whole thing, renovate, repair. Now, Betty Kamya cannot fix this country. She's a liar. She has been lying to us, abusing Museveni, showing us that is a bad man, but today he's there. Eating on the same pancake plate. That one cannot. Remove her. Don't even tell me that. Don't take away. Take away. Anybody next to her, take away. I don't want.
So do you believe government employees such as those representing the public sector are effective, or is it a bureaucracy, of course, that results in a decrease in the effectiveness of those that we've elected to lead us, to guide us?
Some of them are willing to work passionately, but they are conditioned to do wrong. They even understand it, that we are doing wrong. We don't want to do wrong, but we are forced to do wrong.
So what can they do? I mean,
avoid the barrel, man.
But then they want something from it. I mean, everybody is looking for...
I'm not looking for something when I can have abundance. Something is when your brains are aiming at something. But a man like me, whose brains are aiming at broadband, everybody must have. Let me show you something. If you become rich, for example, and you have a lot of friends like me and the rest who are poor, we become dependents. Every day we demand from you. So even your riches will not move. But if we can all get some riches somewhere, no one will come to demand from you. So if we move together. That's how they call it dynamic. Dynamic what? Development is what they use.
It's a transcendence. It's
that's it.
Yeah.
Let's all move together.
Let's come back to our Masindi, Bunyoro. I mean, you are well versed. I mean, I don't know what terminology I could call it. You're well versed with what is going on.
I own it.
Around
I own this place.
What are the factors that would result in an underdevelopment of municipalities or regions that have got potential of developing, like our Masindi, Bunyoro at large? What are these factors that would result to, underdevelopment? I mean, we've talked about corruption.
Actually, the whole thing is our mindset. Let's avoid the past. We have had problems. Like I might have fought with you while we were young men. Maybe I stole your wife, I stole your land, but time reaches and we have to set aside our differences for a common cause.
Okay.
The Banyoros have a common problem that I don't understand. Maybe we need a veterinarian to inject them.
Why a veterinarian? Why?
Tough medicine from oil from Brisa.
Why is that?
We ignore our own and praise anything that is rotten that is not ours. Anybody in Masindi here who is voting Mr. Museveni is mad. In Bunyoro actually. Our king is sick. Not even one son of his, maybe me the brother could have done it, but I'm not allowed to access that place.
Okay.
The medicine for Alzheimer's, or let's say the mind, the body,
Okay.
is simple. We go green. We can have fruit. The most we could have is pomegranate. Pomegranate, you know that seed. You crush the whole thing so that it takes a glass in the morning and in the evening. Even when you grow, you can never forget. Toliewa. Have you ever seen an old man sing you and say, Canty Rogers? And you say, this man still remembers me. I'm 20 years old away from him. I've been in the States, but you just come, he says, Canty Rogers, you're welcome. He puts his things elsewhere, you steal 20 shillings. He says, somebody has taken my 20 shillings that was here. Now, that is one way of having the mind awake.
Okay.
Then, two, we need to set aside religious differences, political differences, tribal differences. Let's put our pain aside and think together. Even the one you think doesn't know has something he or she knows.
Yeah, but what can we do? I mean, yes,
now
these are the factors.
unity is destroyed because of politics.
So what can we do to revive that unity? What is needed to be done? I mean, this is something that we have in
the system called NRM is supposed to be also set aside. Because now NRM sets laws in the constitution. Every day they keep juggling the constitution. But if we made a constitution with stringent measures, even the president can be put to jail if he messes with health, education, agriculture, or anything to do with the civilians.
Is Bunyoro not having a constitution as a kingdom?
It is a condom constitution.
Why do you say it's a condom constitution?
It's only used and dumped.
Under whose influence?
Who has ever kept a condom decently? They use it, throw it in the latrine. They use it, throw it on the road.
Yeah, because
some of them use
we're looking for.
That's what they're doing with us. I'm just showing you what they're doing with us. Something used in a good game, but it doesn't enjoy either. It is very present in the game of two that is very sweet, but it does not enjoy anything there. That is Bunyoro.
Now that you've given us the factors, what do we do? What do we need to do?
We need to get serious people. Like you and me, who are not looking for money. Money should not be an issue if we are fighting for Bunyoro.
Are they existent in Bunyoro? Do we have?
I'm here, and some others are there as well.
Okay. So what are you as Canty Rogers? What are you going to do?
I'm doing what they call public enlightenment. If you are interviewing me,
yes,
citizens of.
But an action has to be taken.
The other day I caught the people stealing the money for the road. I nabbed them and the road is done. But now I have people who have stolen money for the referral hospital. I don't know how to start it. Please, Abanyo, the deal was done between, it was for oil. The consultant was put in place. When it came out, it was put in Masindi Barracks as a clinic. I have the documents.
The warrior himself, of course, enlightening us, giving us more details about what is transpiring, what's happening.
Okay, give us what belongs to us. Give Caesar that belongs to Caesar.
And that will be the solution.
Please, I'm not that Jesus Christ who said, blessed are they who believe without seeing. I'm that most doubtful Thomas who said, me, I want to see where they nailed you. And Jesus had to show the hands. I'm that doubtful Thomas.
Anyway, we will come back to the Bunyoro issues very
there are many. There are very many.
We are coming to that. We are coming to that. Now, we all know about the new cities that have been formed. Of course, they've been named in Uganda. And 7 of them, of course, out of the 15, are currently operating. Of course, they started operating from the 1st of July 2020. And they were approved by the parliament. In your opinion, given the fact that we all know the state at which we are indebted, of course, we know it's about 65 trillion and counting, that we as the country Uganda owes the lenders. And of course, each citizen in Uganda is owing the lender 1.5 million, I think it is, if at all we were to do the math. Do you really think these new cities are going to play a role of being assets or liabilities to the country?
Those are. Have you ever seen a statue? Those are statue cities.
So they are not, as they claim to be, cities?
Wait, the decision was made like this inside the State House.
All right.
Every kingdom headquarter must be made a city.
Was it the State House or was it the Parliament?
Then, when State House decides, they go through the cabinet, throw it to Parliament, Parliament agrees, they take it back for sanctioning.
So do they have say? Do the parliamentarians have any say about?
Do we have a parliament? I think that's a collection of individuals stuck with their minds not even seeing a sense of direction apart from a few others. There are those you see who are consistently looking for the aim and the purpose where we are supposed to be.
Okay.
But most of those other people, they are just in that place to sing Kumbaya, my Lord, Kumbaya. I'm not singing Kumbaya.
So a quick one. Do you think our country Uganda is a self-sufficient or a satellite country? I mean, when we say satellite country, we know it's referring to individual independent governments, such as Uganda, which are heavily influenced by other countries considered to be superior to them, like China. So do you consider Uganda being self-sufficient, or is it still a satellite?
Self-sufficiency.
Because I mean, we have all kinds of
when we, the citizens, we have gone to all the universities of our own.
Yeah.
We have the productivity to produce what the country deserves for the next generation.
Okay, so you mean we don't have the universities that are capable, or we don't have...
We have had Makerere University running for over half a century, or even more than.
Okay, but we have other universities.
Wait, it has produced engineers, but we are still looking for contractors to construct dams, to construct roads. Even the Chinese give us a condition: we are lending you money for the roads, but we are sending our own labor force.
So that's one.
It's not allowed. We have got students, engineers who have gone through our own universities who will build these roads with passion. It's like building your own. Your own wisdom is working. Your money is felt by every citizen that this is a debt. How do you tell me you have a dead body in the house and you are buying a Mercedes Benz for a girlfriend? Is that sensible? I can't allow that to exist where I'm standing.
Wow.
Yes.
Anyway, let's go security.
It's like deceiving you. Wait, security, I'm coming. It's like deceiving you that I have a patient in hospital,
right,
whereas I have a girlfriend who wants money to drink with me in a nightclub. So you give me money for a patient, I use it for a nightclub. Is that sensible? Even the devil can slap you. Almighty God will just run away from you.
Now that you've talked about, giving you being given funds and to take someone, a patient, to a hospital, and you're going to the nightclub. Let's. I mean, I was going to talk about security. I'm going to go a little bit
Ask
more.
Ask every question that you want. I'm a freelance encyclopedia.
In the health sector. Now we've heard of what has been going on with the public funds. I will say it this way: public awareness about the health supply chain.
Okay.
Right? Is it justice served for the public sector to acclaim or know accountability of the funds and resources meant for the public that has been mishandled and used for personal benefits, like you were saying? I mean, the public sometimes has to know the accountability. I think it's justice served for them to know that, hey, this amount of money was stipulated and was given for this and this in the health sector.
Okay, we are talking about money.
Yes.
We have got the Minister of Finance in the country. So the Minister of Finance is entitled to allocate these monies as passed by the cabinet.
All right.
Not so. If we get loans, they come via Bank of Uganda. Then they are circulated through other force accounts of the districts.
Right.
So we have issues with the monies for Ministry of Health. Now, if I want to get the problem, I don't look for those who spent it.
Who do you look for?
The issuing officer, the minister, Matia Kasaija, that one I just put him behind bars. Then I condition all his people to give me a record where that money went. The moment your channel has a problem, just behind bars, without trial, just sentence immediately to life imprisonment because you're playing with life.
So the solution, of course, these...
Don't tell me the fish is smelling. Which part of the fish is smelling most? is what you have to cut off first. And it is the sweetest when it is fresh.
So what should be done to these, of course, ministers and representatives, of course, is
Do we have
behind
ministers?
us?
Do we have ministers?
Well, the Minister of Health.
Show me the minister. Who is that? Is he a minister? She a minister or minister? Or
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen,
instead of buying us oxygen canisters, they buy tear gas canisters. So that's a minister. It's a minister. What do we need first? Oxygen canisters.
Right.
But they buy for us tear gas canisters.
For security purposes.
Whose security? Whose security? Whose
The
security?
citizens.
No. For the life president material. Using our taxes.
Talking security, of course, we're supposed to be talking about security. I mean, you've heard about the car digital trackers deal between the Russian firm MS Joint Stock Global System and Uganda.